Welcome back, my Nomads. Welcome back to another Bitcast. It's your boy Nigel, and I'm back here with Zach. How you doing?
Hey man, how you doing? I'm good.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So, Zach, how was your Father's Day?
It was very, I guess productive means that I didn't do anything and it was enjoyable. How about yours?
Likewise, man. I got sick again because of my daughter, but
Why
it was
why
actually
don't
my
you take
fault.
those supplements I tell you about?
I do. I just got sick because the kid thinks it's funny when she's eating something, takes it out her mouth, and puts it in mine, and I just go
Ew.
with it because she thinks it's funny, and
Suck
I
that
eat
out
it.
of her hand.
But I gotta stop doing that because that's how I got sick.
Ew.
But it was this was the longest run of me not getting sick. So
I feel like I feel like for you, you would probably die immediately if there was like a real global virus just killing people because you
I
just
would
get
want
sick
to
all the
die.
time.
I would want to. It's
Don't want to
funny. I didn't get
survive.
sick until my daughter was born, and my wife was like, "We've been together for how long? And this is the first time I've seen you sick." Like, yeah, like kid germs are different, man. They're just a different thing. They're like super germs that you're not ready for.
Well, good thing my immune system handles it because I get sneezed and coughed in my mouth all the time directly.
Oh man, wait till
If
he goes to daycare. When he gets older, them things are
I don't
super
think you
germs, man.
understand, no, because you don't get it. Because when Heather was a teacher and she was
Oh
sick all the
yeah,
time, I got all that stuff too. So I'm built with kid immunity now.
oh yeah, that's true.
Remember? I
That's
mean,
true. So
and
you've
dude,
been
middle
through this
schoolers are
already.
worse than toddlers. Let's be real. They don't wash their
Oh yeah,
hands. They don't do anything.
nah, disgusting, disgusting, man. But yeah, man, it was a chill weekend. Just relaxed as much as I could. You can't really chill with a toddler, but just relaxed and chilled out. You know, but try to watch some things. You watch anything new, anything exciting?
Always watch something new and exciting, but I have House of Dragon on my watch list, and
Funny, I haven't really heard much about House of Dragon.
I didn't know it came out until the other day.
Same,
Like, oh,
same.
okay,
He was like, "Yo, are you watching House of Dragon?" I was like, no." I
didn't know it
didn't.
came out.
I checked on my app, my Max app, and it was like, "Yeah, watch it now." It's like more than one episode is out now or something. I'm like, "What the hell?" I haven't heard any. Same thing with the boys. The funny thing is, yo, I was hyped for the boys. All my friends was hyped for the boys. Nobody's talking about it. They're like 4 or 5 episodes in on the boys. What's going on?
And it's very good.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but I don't know. It's things are just different now. I don't know. Like maybe it's because all my friends are older and have kids that we're like, oh yeah, this happens to be on. But my like feed on my phone is not saying anything. I don't see reviews. I don't see
Do you get
like
Google
big.
alerts?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Or maybe it's because I'm subscribed to too many things that the alerts get jumbled up and I
See, I
only see a
usually find
few.
out from social media because I follow Tony Starr on Instagram. So and he talks about it.
Hmm.
That's probably the
Oh,
best way
okay.
to follow through is just follow certain the actors or the producers or whatever, and then you get it that way.
That actually makes sense. That's true. Yeah, yeah. I'll probably do that. But how's the boys so far? No spoilers.
It's as typical as ridiculous as it normally is in a tasteful manner.
Oh, in a
No, but
tasteful
it
manner. Okay.
but it's trying to align itself like how it ended last season. It's trying to align itself with the political climate now, but just adding supers to it.
Right. Right. And do you see the effects of Gen V? I think it's called. Yeah, Gen V. The spinoff. Like, do you see how it intertwines? Are they like
Haven't
alluding
really
to
done
it?
much of that. Very just mentionings of it, but that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Because uh, I saw Gen V. It was pretty good, and I'm like, but how are they going to tie this in? Are they
Right.
going to be a new team? Because spoilers, it seems like you saw Gen V.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so at the end, it's like, are they making them a new team, like their own Suicide Squad to combat the boys or to work with the
The
boys?
uh,
Or
the the rankings of the school was kind of wild, and then just come to find out they're testing all those kids underneath the school, and it's just a segue to making soups, pretty much, right? Like
right,
from ground zero, it's like, all right, you inject them as a kid, and you do all this, and they're already like trained in the mindset by the time they're an adult.
yeah, it's kind of wild.
And the kid's
Kind of
father,
wild.
who was like a big time one, like knew about it, and he couldn't say anything.
And it's crazy too because I think we talked a lot about it a little before. The fact that this is Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, like they started out doing the Green Hornet, like we talked about. How that wasn't the greatest
Yeah, I
adaptation
mentioned that
of a
in a
comic book
text to you
character.
last night. It's like, oh, the Green Hornet. Gosh, that was so bad.
It was entertaining. It just wasn't a good adaptation. And we talked about that. And now it's kind of interesting to see um, the what came after Green Hornet. They're making their own like universe where it's Invincible, Preacher, The Boys, Gen V. Like these adaptations, I think, are the best ones we have now. It used to be Marvel. Well, before even Marvel, it used to be the DCAU, the DC animated universe. Then it was um, Marvel. Now I think it's the Goldberg slash Rogan
Well, you
universe.
have the Umbrella Academy too.
That kind of
So,
fell off.
huh?
The last two seasons were kind of kind of
Same kind of thing. Like, but you get like adult, like, graphic novels, and then they have an adaptation. And it's really good.
yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. But yeah, like I'm definitely gonna tune into the boys. I didn't even know until yesterday that the boys and House of Dragon were going on right now, so I'm definitely going to tune into that for sure, for sure. And hopefully, with the next season of Invincible, they'll learn their lesson and not have it chopped in half, like 4 episodes at a time. 4 episodes, and then like 2 months later, you get another 4 episodes. Like, what was that?
Why would they do that? That doesn't make sense.
That didn't make sense to the point that nobody I know talked about Invincible, and everybody was like, "What was that? Like, why did they do that?" Like, some people just lost interest, But I don't know. I think it was a bad strategy. I think they were trying to do the Attack on Titan thing where they did that, and that was a bad idea for them. So I'm like, you know what? I know animation takes a long time, but I'd rather have it all consistently week to week as opposed to 4 weeks of it and then 2 months later we get another 4 weeks. That was kind of weird. That was kind of strange. So I hope they learn from their mistakes, man.
Do you believe that people review bomb shows on purpose? Like, there's a real coordinated effort with a large group of people doing it.
I believe so. I believe um, there are people who have nothing to do because we see it. We see it. Not just for shows. We see it with people too. People who want to cancel other people, right? So yeah, I do believe shows get review bombed.
I'm
But
talking about
then
tens of thousands of people type of thing. Like, it's a real coordinated effort.
I think a lot of that is half of that is like bots too. I think some people are so tech savvy that they'll review bomb with bots. Like 10 people will create 10 bots, and those 10 people, like that's what I think. I'm not really tapped into that, but
It's
that's
kind
what
of
I
tough
think.
to do that because there's a lot of bot detection measures on a lot of sites now, right? And they'll just block your address.
Oh, can I inverse that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
let me inverse your question. So I watched. I'm a fan of the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz and his crew. They had an episode with Russ, the rapper Russ, on there, and he talked about how um, these companies, these music companies, will use fake listenings to boost certain artists. And when he actually, I can't break it down like he did, but when he broke it down, it was like an hour, 2 hour episode. I was like, yo, if they're doing that for music, I guarantee you they're doing that for TV shows on streamers and movies. Like, what was that show where it was like, there's no way people are watching it? I mean, I can't remember, but like the acolyte right now. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're telling me what the audience score has now.
It's like a 3,
That
less
is,
than a 3. It's like a 2.8 or let's
and
look.
that's the audience score. Okay, we all know that Rotten Tomatoes inflates reviews and stuff like that. They're paid to do that by these companies, right? But the audience score, and if you don't believe that, go to IMDb and look at the audience score. Like, I haven't done that yet, but you're telling me that these low audience scores, these shows with these low audience scores, are still getting good reviews. Like, I think it was
It's a
I think I
3.4 right now, and
that's not fake. Let's just put it that way. That's not fake. But these companies are definitely lying to the public and saying the number one show in America. I heard that for the Acolyte somewhere. I
who
believe it was
said
the Acolyte.
that?
I saw an advertisement. It was like an advertisement for Disney Plus or something, and it was like the number one show or something like that, or maybe I'm mixing it up with a different show. But these streamers do be lying to the public about the views and all that jazz. And I've watched a couple of videos, bro, about how Disney has conflated the numbers, the streaming numbers for the Acolyte. Like, this is a whole operation, bro. And I wish I could explain it as well as Russ did, well, how Spotify and iHeart conflate listens or whatever. But yo, I'm telling you, that stuff is fake. When you see a show like, oh, it's the number one, it's the top 10 most viewed shows, and well, like, don't believe that stuff, man. Like,
Yeah, because
don't believe it.
it's like what Zack Snyder did. They kind of take like the average household, multiply it based on the views and stuff. That's what it is now.
And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, these numbers are proprietary information.
It's
All right.
secret. It's privileged.
Exactly. The streamers do not release actual numbers and actual viewership and actual analytics. They keep that to themselves. Netflix, Disney, Hulu, all of them, they keep that to themselves. And they only release certain numbers to boost, like, what word I'm trying to think of? Like, the credibility of a show or something like that. Like, they'll be like, oh, Stranger Things did this much numbers. I
Yeah.
bet you I bet you money that last season, not a lot of people who started that last season finished that last season.
For
But
Stranger Things,
that's just, yeah, that last season was hella bloated, son. Hella bloated. Like, why are we getting like 8 hour and a half episodes? Like, come on, man. Hour to 2 hour episodes. What are you doing? But yeah, like come on, man. Like what's it called? What's that show called? The Lord of the Rings show. Rings of Power. Rings of Power, you know they conflated the hell out of that. Like, why did that show get a second season? What's going on? And somebody in the comments hit it on the nail. It's like we live in a weird time where the shows that no one wants get sequels and the shows that everyone loves gets canceled. Like, what the hell is going on? Why are we getting this trash? And I think it's just these companies got these COVID money, got this COVID money, and they have certain parameters they have to fulfill for amount of years, and then soon we'll see a shift. But as of right now, they got to do certain government stipulations to keep that money, or else they got to pay it back to the government. That's what I
yeah.
believe. You know, that's what I believe. But
So you're saying it sucks, and there's nothing that nothing's being faked with that. Then
for Review Bomb, no. I mean, it's like what was it called? The Force Awakens, right?
mm-hmm.
When John Boyega was getting a lot of hate for being a black stormtrooper. Yes, there was a lot of people who was mad, who was spewing out hate, but there was a considerable amount of accounts that was found to be bots, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong, but from what I remember, they found out that a good amount of those that hate was from bots. Now, I'm sure it still affects him the same way, whether it's fake or real, but take that into consideration. So, yes, I do believe there's hate, but I'll just make up a number. Like, if you get, like, let's say if I got cast as, if they're remaking the prequels and I got cast as Anakin Skywalker,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if I got like 100 death threats, maybe like, I don't know, 50%, 40% of those would be bots, I guess. I
Right.
don't know. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Do you think I don't? I can't foresee a scenario where they're making a new season of this show.
Of the Acolyte?
Mm-hmm.
I believe they would. And you know why? Because Kathleen Kennedy is driving this show.
Mm.
And I was thinking about this before we got on the channel, or before we got on here. Uh, the only thing wrong, the only wrong move that the Mandalorian did was becoming as popular as it did. When it was just a show about a guy in a suit with a baby Yoda, aka Grogu, it was cool. But once the show got so popular and so successful, that's when Kathleen Kennedy had to step in and start putting stipulations on the show. And then we got that turd of a last season that we got. Let's be honest. We all know she had her hand on that. And then what happened with Ahsoka? Like, we all know, like, come on, bro. Like, it's getting to the point where it's not even being hit anymore. Like, you can tell that there's a same driving force behind some of these shows and some of these decisions.
How do you feel
You feel me?
about her saying that if you don't like it, you're just a bigot and you don't understand and all that stuff? I'm just paraphrasing.
Oh, I saw that. Um, I say she can say all that because she's hiding behind streamers. If this was a movie that was losing a lot of money, she couldn't say that. But because she's high, and I think that's why she still has a job. I think that's why she's still the head of Lucasfilms right now. Kathleen Kennedy is hiding behind streamers. Imagine if all these failed Disney Plus shows of Star Wars Disney Plus shows were movies losing money at the box office as opposed to on a streamer where she can manipulate the numbers. She'd be out of here. Let's be honest, because the shareholders would be like, look, man, you're losing us too much money. You're spending millions on millions of dollars and you're losing us
Right.
millions and millions of dollars. But because she can hide behind a streamer and float her narrative and then weaponize negative reviews that I feel are justified, she can do what she wants and she can still have a job. Because those numbers aren't real numbers because they're proprietary numbers. They can be fudged. As opposed to ticket sales, which can't be fudged. Let's
Right.
be honest. So I think she's hiding behind streamers, and that's why she still has a job. Um, but yeah, that's what I believe. You also made a good point that maybe she still has a job because her contract makes it too expensive to get rid of her. And I think that's a good point too. It could be both. It could be one or two, but
Yeah, we don't
I
know what
think
the
she's hiding
contract
behind.
looks like for something like that. So it's I mean, because at the end of the day, it just turns into a whole problem, and the last thing they need is, especially with the board issues and the fighting and all that, and fighting that was going on recently. I've just never really seen a company lose as much money as they've lost in terms of market share and all that stuff. And they still keep the same people intact. It's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's. I could say like the parks are keeping them afloat, and the merchandise is keeping them
Which is
afloat.
also extremely expensive. That stuff's gone up a lot, dude, in the last decade. It's really expensive. The
Yeah,
average
like
person can't go to those things. There's no way.
I think it's the local Floridians who get
Well,
year
don't forget
passes.
LA. Well, it's in Anaheim, but it's LA, right?
Yeah, that too. I think it's the local residents of both states who are keeping it afloat. And apparently, I didn't know this that there's like this weird thing about Disney adults, you know, like who I think are also keeping them afloat. Because I know some adults who go multiple times a year, and I'm like, Dad, that's a lot of money, son. And they ain't got no kids, so it's like, it's kind of weird,
They're
but you know,
psychopaths. I
I
think
wouldn't
they're
go that far,
relying.
but
It's a couple things. I think they're relying on residual value of what the franchise has been up till this point, in terms of figurines, games, you name it, right? And it's
aren't they a
just
part
kind.
owner of Fortnite?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think they are, bro. I think
Mm.
I saw that. That's a lot of money that they get monthly from Fortnite. So
All
yeah,
right, makes more of a. That's more of a. It makes more sense then, and so you can see that there's ways to bail them out, right? But you can, but just look at their stock price. Last 5 years, it's been stagnant. It stayed the same. You look at other companies where it's like, you take in videos, $3 a share 3 years ago, and now it's, before the recent stock split was like 1,300. And they're a $3.26 trillion company, and they blew up like that, and Disney stayed the same. And it's like, come on, like you have so much content, you can make so much good stuff. And we've talked about this at nauseum, but I'm just really perplexed with how they're just allowing the same people to run the business, especially the
I
key
wonder.
franchises.
I wonder. Oh, I just looked it up too. Disney owns 1.5 billion stake in Epic Games, which
Oh yeah, that's
uh,
that's Fortnite's publisher.
and it's the Unreal Epic Games
Yeah,
developed Unreal Engine.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
They
Um.
get a piece from all those games that use that engine.
Oh yeah. So Disney's still chilling. I wonder though. Let's play conspiracy theorist. I wonder if Disney is allowing Kathleen Kennedy to do this because once that government stipulation is done, they can blame it all on her and get rid of her, and then build it up from the ground up again.
I don't think that COVID money stuff, like that stuff's already done. I thought.
But I heard that now I've heard this in the video game space, not the movie space, but that those contracts still have some governmental stipulations to this day in this year in 2024.
Gotcha.
So
But then
that's why
Disney
we're seeing
does
this in
mass
video games
layoffs,
too.
which is also fascinating to me. Then you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, they got to make them happy. I mean, even though they're still losing money. Even though they're still staying afloat a little bit, they're still losing money. So they got to get it from somewhere. So they're doing all these layoffs and everything like that to keep everybody happy. Because let's face it, not a lot of people are going to Disney World. Not a lot of people are playing Fortnite like they used to. So they got to get this money somewhere. They got to pay for the acolyte somehow. Let's keep it a buck. And I think they're doing that too because they're trying to keep Disney Plus. Because for a minute there, Disney Plus was looking like it was going to be shut down. And so now I think they're trying to keep Disney Plus afloat. And let's face it, streaming shows don't make money. And the analytics show that shows not just on Disney Plus, but all these streaming shows don't really bring in new subscribers. You know, and the average consumer is getting smarter. They're not buying these things month to month throughout the year. They're getting them for like 1 or 2 months out of the year just to watch whatever they want to watch and cancel. So that monthly income for these streamers is starting to dwindle very, 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 very quickly. So that's what I
So
think.
it's I mean I think at this point they're going to have to get absorbed by someone else bought out to get it fixed. That's where we're at.
Who, Disney?
Yes.
That's kind of tricky though, because the problem is Disney owns so much crap that it's bleeding itself dry because it's too big. It has ABC, Hulu,
Yeah, but it's
20th
a
Century Fox,
I
Epic
mean
Games.
but there's companies that can buy them though. That's the thing. Like, people mentioned Apple as an example,
Yeah, I remember that. I
right?
remember there was a time when people thought Elon Musk was going to buy Disney or something like that.
Mm.
I think.
I mean, he could.
Yeah,
Good luck. There's a lot going on, but we'll see. With
but that was a while ago. I don't think he's going to do that anymore.
no.
Because if he did, he would clean house. Kathleen Kennedy would be out of there. But but yeah, man, I think the shareholders or whatever are just letting this happen because they're like, man, as soon as these government stipulations are done, you are out of here, and we're blaming you. You're going to be the scapegoat,
I'm a
or
little
they're going to
surprised
sell
that Bob
Lucasfilm.
Iger is just still. Is his previous success like overblown?
I wonder if they're too deep and there's nothing really he can do. I don't know.
Well, sounds like to me they're pretty much dead until they get acquired by someone else.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people are done. Done. I'm one of them. I'm done with Disney stuff.
So Spotify was mentioned a while back to purchase Disney.
Wow, that's crazy. That would be very interesting. Hmm, I don't know. And are we talking Disney as a whole or just the
The whole
entertainment?
thing.
Wow. I don't know, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy to think of. I don't know, but I feel like if you know what they say, if you cut off the dead parts, the rest of the body will live. I mean, if you just cut off Lucasfilm and maybe even cut off Marvel, you might be able to stay afloat.
I mean, at some point, it's probably going to be some kind of like private equity firm, if anything. Kind of like Blackstone, BlackRock, that type of thing to
Oh
swoop
yeah,
in and get that. Don't want to hammer too much on that, but so
I
yeah,
heard.
so I think that so if all the franchises are dead until there's like a meaningful change, but a meaningful change is not going to happen until there's like an acquisition, then yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to watch any more Star Wars stuff. I already told you that. It's just how it is, unfortunately.
You already know I stopped. Last year.
Bad Batch
Star
was like
Wars
the
is dead.
last thing.
Star Wars is dead, my friend.
Well, some that's not dead. I'll tell you what. Apple TV is just putting out gems.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Apple TV, man. It's like it's worth the monthly
You're
payment
welcome, by the way.
because. Yeah. Are we gonna talk about Dark Matter?
Yeah, definitely. Or just any of it in general. There's a few shows. There's also that Jake Gyllenhaal show that I just started watching, which is pretty good.
Presumed innocent.
Yes, I watched the first like episode and a half of that. Man, I want to talk about wild.
And we're seeing this too, man. I mean, we're getting like these award-winning, these Emmy and what's it called,
Oscar.
Oscar-winning
Yeah.
actors and actresses on Apple TV. I mean, Apple TV from the start was always getting A-listers. I just think their shows, either their shows or the advertising at the beginning wasn't very interesting, and now it's just like knocking it out the park, man. It's just good stuff, man. Everywhere I see, especially for sci-fi, man. I'm a sci-fi guy, and I'm just like blown away at the catalog of Apple TV. Like, I just can't stop. It's like so much content. I get brain dead just looking at it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that. Sci-fi all day, baby. Like, I wonder if the Battlestar Galactica remake is Apple TV, because that would be a good fit. But I don't. I think it's Amazon. I don't know.
You know how like I remember we talked about because I made a mistake that Alien was coming on Apple TV. If Apple TV buys Disney, then they have Alien.
And then I don't want that to happen, because then we have another issue where most of our content is owned by one conglomerate. Like that was the issue when Disney bought 20th Century Fox. Like it's like, people are like, oh yeah, they finally got X-Men. I'm like, you know what else they have? Everything else. They got they got Alien versus Predator. They got they got the Terminator, right? Is that Terminator's on there too?
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes. They got Planet of
Avatar.
the Apes. Avatar. Yeah, they got so much crap now.
Apple does a good job. Like you have to give them the benefit of doubt because they know how to run a successful company. They're the second largest company on the planet for a reason. And it's not just because of the iPhones too.
They're iPhones that are made for the trash. Let's just call it what it is, a spade a spade. But Apple has the best marketing on the planet. Let's be clear.
It's brand, dude. It's brand visibility. Everyone knows what Apple is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just look. I mean, that's just what it is. Like, earpods, the AirPods, excuse me, the phone, the computers, all that stuff, right? The iPads, like, it's what.
I mean, Apple has firmly put itself in the business space. It replaced the BlackBerry. Let's be honest. Even though I don't like Apple phones, they're like the business phone for certain.
And they at least pretend to care. At least they try to care about your privacy compared to a Google phone, where it's okay if your stuff gets leaked out. Whatever, they'll just pay the fine.
Well, Google is a company that makes money off of selling your data in the first place. So.
That's love to have a place where I can have all my data like that. Makes so much sense.
That's most companies though. Like people,
I understand.
Sometimes you want to pay for an app because it gives you privacy. Like a lot of these free apps are free because they're just selling your data.
So
that's why people go, why you pay for that? I'm like, because I don't want them to sell my data. So yeah, that's for most people who don't know that. But yeah, like Apple, I just don't like how all these companies are folding into each other one after the other, because then it leaves less space for creators to shop around and get funding for their projects.
But isn't he worse than what Disney's doing with all their IPs right now? Like we already just talked about that, so it's like we don't need to go into it. But with something like that where they own so much and they're doing an awful job with most of it, maybe just a change of scenery is not a bad thing.
I mean, look, man, I'm a firm believer if you keep putting shit out into the world, you're going to eventually get shit back. So with Disney doing what they're doing with Star Wars and Marvel, it's eventually going to come full circle, and it's going to have to be corrected, or it's going to have to be sold. So I'm okay with them doing this, because I'm like, at the end of the day, the prequels are still a thing. The originals are still a thing. 4, 5, and 6. So I can watch those. I can watch the Star Wars Rebel cartoon. I can watch the Star Wars Clone Wars. I can watch all the old stuff and just shy away from the new stuff. That stuff still exists. But if you have a company who owns almost everything, and then one day says, all right, we're not going to make these on DVD anymore, you're going to have to subscribe to our new streaming platform called Ultimate Streaming Platform. Let's call it that. And then ultimate streaming platform. Everybody's like, cool, it's on here and it's only $5 a month. I'll do that. And then the next day, they're like, oh, never mind. It's not $5 a month anymore. So that we can give you good quality and everything and da da da. It's going to be $25 a month. What are you going to do? You can't buy it online. So, cry about it if you want, but you're going to have to pay that $25 a month. And then next month, we're going to raise it to $40 a month. What are you going to do? Everything you love, everything you cherish is on this streaming platform.
I
And you
have a
can't get it
fix for
physically.
that.
Piracy. When all your business practices are immoral, piracy is the way to go. It's legal.
Well, no, but that's what's going to happen, though. It's where it's at. Yeah. It's already pushed up. The model is already pushed to so many people who never would have done that, have done that, and it's where it's at.
And a lot of what I just described in a hypothetical situation, Disney is already doing. Okay, they've been doing it, and they're doing it even more to the extreme to drive people to Disney Plus. And soon that monthly payment's going to go higher. It doubled last year. Like in the last 2 years,
Apple TV hasn't really changed a whole lot for me.
Nah, I think it went from like last time I checked, like $7 to $9 a month.
I mean, because I have it with my music and my cloud storage anyway, so it's not a huge deal, right? Because I need that stuff.
Well, it's cheaper for you because you're an Apple guy. But if you're like me, it went from 5 to 7 to 10 now bucks a month, which isn't bad, especially the quality that it still gives you. But there's no telling that it won't go back up. You know, like a Netflix, like a Max. Max is raising their prices again, and I'm like, for what? So you can pay for House of Dragon because you're not really putting out like good stuff, all right?
No, yeah, really just their catalog of stuff to watch is good. So
yeah,
that's not to divulge too much from what we were going to say. So I watched Dark Matter this morning.
Oh yeah,
and
that's what we were talking about.
And I think it's a as I knew it would be, and when I recommended it to you. You know, just like I do with so many shows, because the stuff you recommend to me is like, but mine are home runs, by the way.
That's because you have a particular taste, my friend.
Well, mine are home runs nevertheless. And Dark Matter is I like this for a couple reasons. One, I like the writer of the book writes the screenplay. Not a lot of companies do this, and this is great.
I can only think of one other off the top of my head. Neil Gaiman for Sandman.
Yeah, that's it.
Sandman on Netflix. That's it. And he was a producer.
And I like Sandman. That was very well done.
Yeah. And this guy, I think his name is Blake Crouch or something for Dark Matter.
Yeah.
He's also the producer for this too. He created it, producer, and he's writing the screenplay.
He's not very old, dude. He's our age, approximately. He's not very old.
Oh, really?
Nice.
It seems like that's the secret sauce, to have somebody adapt their own stuff. And Robert Kirkman did that too for Invincible. He's part of that process too. So yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a couple guys, you know. Yeah,
so I don't know if you can make a second season for this, which I hope they do.
Well, the first seasons, I thought this was the finale, but it's not. And this show did something that's very rare to me. Again, is that it went a different direction that I didn't think it was going to go, and I was like, "Oh snap!"
Oh, you were expecting multiple versions of him?
No, I wasn't expecting. Like it did something that. Yeah, like I didn't see that coming. I thought
you just thought there was going to be this penultimate moment between the two Jasons and they would fight, but it ends up being like this whole reality is going to be filled with versions of Jason fighting each other.
And because the last episode, the way it ended, I was like, wait, what? Was that the other Jason? What? I was like, wait, are we dealing with time travel too? Or I was like, oh no. This is a consequence of his choices. Every time he makes a choice in that box, the opposite happens, and it creates another reality with another Jason. which is
Well,
just like,
yeah, well, that's just an opposite. Like, because what it is like you can kind of sum it up like this: when he makes a choice, a version of that Jason is created at that moment. Not just created, is realized at that moment in time. Right.
mhm.
So there's different variations of the Jason coming from the same person because you can see it's like, oh, I went through that. I went through that. Yes, I was kidnapped too. I went through that. And then it starts changing a little bit. Right. But the variation of the Jason's the same. It's a very fascinating thing where it takes the rules of time travel, the no-nos of that, when it's not really time traveling, it's just
Yeah,
reality hopping.
it's just multiverse. It's not even really time travel. It's just
Yeah, because the
multiverse
multiverse, you can
on
go to a
steroids.
different point in time because doesn't really exist in that. You could just go to a different reality where that moment in time hasn't happened yet. That's a different reality, you know?
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
very well done.
it's
And it makes it so simple too. It's not like you have to like wrap your mind like, man, this is tough to ingest. It's not.
so I'm like now it's like, oh, where's it gonna go now? It's like, are multiple versions of Jason 2 going to come out and they're going to fight each other?
It's like
It's like
Starfield, dude. It's
craziness.
exactly like Starfield with the Starborn, where everyone's like hopping around trying
Yeah,
to get the same thing, and there's a million versions of each other. You know what I
and they're
mean?
killing each other.
That's
It's craziness, and it's like, where do you go from now? Because you can't know how many versions of Jason 1 there are. Like, I think I might have counted like
infinite.
5 or 6 of them. So
There's infinite
there's
versions.
infinite. Yeah.
That's the thing, right? There's an infinite possible. Like no matter what, even if he solves this, there's going to be an infinite chance of them popping up again. That's the issue.
So it's like, what do you do? There's
You
nowhere you
destroy
can
the
run.
cube, is what you do.
Maybe you try to seal it again.
Well, you
Try
destroy
to
it. You don't
close
seal
it.
it. You
You
just blow
destroy
it
it.
up or something.
But my question is, that's the problem though. Even if you destroy it, every time they went to a different universe, the box created itself so that they can enter into that universe.
That box had always existed and never created itself. It hops in.
Exactly.
So no, it hops. So the cube goes into a timeline where it's a couple things. Those people existed, and that cube exists.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like composing itself and creating itself in a different universe. It's already there in that universe. That's the thing. So you have to find a way to destroy it. So you're cut off from the tree branches that you could be connected to with that cube. Now,
See, you're right.
what I'm
You're
curious
right, and you're
about,
wrong.
if Jason 2, let's just say evil Jason,
Mm-hmm.
was he the original creator of this cube?
Who's to say? We don't
Exactly.
know.
So that's the problem. Like we're running into, you're going to have to run into an issue where you have to find the original person for this because there's an original person. Who was it?
There's no way. There's no way. And the thing is, too, what you said was right and wrong, because think about it. In the original Jason's universe, the box never existed, but it did exist when the evil Jason came through. So remember that. So the box created itself in
I don't think
existence.
it created itself. Like, no, he already had the idea of what that cube was. It's always been there. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's been to universes where it was never ever created.
Well, how does he know? He wasn't the one that created it. That's the thing. It never goes into
No, he
detail
was.
about that.
Evil Jason did create that version of the box.
Well, no, there's not a that version of the box. The box stays still. It
Yeah.
doesn't move. So, because you
Right,
can
right.
tell when it goes into different variations of realities, that cube is in that exact geolocation of where it was at originally. And then that's why it's out in the
Exactly.
middle of the ocean or in the snow or something. What I'm saying is that Jason did not create that box, but who's to say that there wasn't another version of Jason that built it there, is what I'm saying. That's not talked about. That box does not create a version of itself.
It just is in
It just
existence
exists, and no
at the
one knew
same time
existed
of
there.
not existing.
It's the whole point of Schrodinger's cat. It is and isn't
Yeah,
at the
the
same time.
superposition.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't create anything. It has always existed and has not always existed at the same time. It's the whole point.
Yes. See, now we're getting into philosophy, existential philosophy. Like Aristotle believed that there was no Big Bang, there was no beginning, there was no God making Earth. There's always is and there always will be. There's never not existence.
Well, that's the
There
whole
never
point of
is.
theoretical physics, right? But Schrodinger's cat, like the box was, he threw the cat in a box and he asked, he was like, does this cat exist if you don't see it?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that, well, I saw you put a cat in that box. He was like, well, what about the people that didn't see me put the cat inside the box? Then what? Does the cat exist still?
So this is metaphysics. Yep, this is metaphysics. So and that's the thing about it, it's something.
That's why
and nothing at
it
the same
is
time.
and isn't at the same time, because there's a group of people that says it does and there's a group of people that says it isn't, but based on their reality, because they've never saw the cat up to that point, right? If you see an empty box in the middle of the forest and you never saw anyone put a quarter in that box, but some other people did, and they're telling you, it's like, well, I didn't see that. There's no way there could be a quarter in that box. Something like that. So that's why it doesn't create itself. That box has always been there, but it hasn't.
Yes. Once it was created, it was always in existence.
Everywhere.
And will always be in existence. So
and
the question is, can you ever seal the box? I don't think.
He concretes it instead of destroys it, which is a fascinating thing, right? But
yeah, because I don't think it can be destroyed. Maybe it could just be sealed temporarily.
They haven't gone into details about any of that stuff. They haven't even gone into details about what it's made out of. It's just,
and we couldn't even see what would happen if Jason was to come to that door and it was sealed, because evil Jason had to open it again to find Ryan, and he did it very sloppily. Like he had no plan. He was just like, "Oh, I like this Ryan. I'm gonna take him." He didn't prep him. He didn't get an agreement from him or anything like that. Like he was just like, "All right, I'm just gonna take this guy, shave his head, make him look like Ryan, let them think that he lost his mind." And I'm like, "You don't think your wife would have put the pieces together? Like she's already been following you and investigating you."
And he has different currencies from different realities too.
Yeah, like. But that's why.
Picture of JFK on like the 50 or something. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like you open the box and you can never close it. You open Pandora's box and there's no way you can get rid of it. There's no way you can
it's not. There's going to be an infinite amount of them running around, right? And that's the whole premise of it. But how do you stop it?
And this is where you get the Kang situation. See, this is what Kang could have been if it was handled by good writers. Instead, we got well, no. Let me rephrase that.
Well,
it wasn't the fault of the writers. It was the studio. My bad.
It was the premise of the multiverse to begin with. It wasn't the foundation of the multiverse itself. Was never really done in the way that it could have been. This is supposed to explain the multiverse in the most understandable, like believable way, right? Like this is how it could be based on our understanding of it. Like when you go in the cube, he even said it's like the cube is our mind's way of explaining what the fourth dimension is in three-dimensional figures, because it goes on forever, because we have no way to conceptualize it otherwise. It's the same thing, right? Like, and I feel sorry for his son and his wife. Like, the fact that he had to go, because I knew right away when he was going into the diner, he wanted to get arrested for something stupid because, he can get out. I was like, oh, he's going to go find a way to talk to his wife and prep her and stuff. Like, this is wild. Can you imagine being his son and all of a sudden you see like 15, 20 different versions of your father running around trying to kill each other for this?
Crazy. And it also makes you think too of the duplicates of Jason 1. The original Jason. Is like they're innocent in all this.
They want to have the original. They're sold on that reality is their reality, but it's not.
Hmm. So it's like how can you fault them? You can't fault them, and can you imagine your whole existence is based off of a decision a past version of you made, and really you're not the original? Like, how? What does that do to your psyche? Like, what does that do to you? It's like you belong nowhere, but this is where you feel you belong, where you should belong. But like, it's crazy, man, and I don't even know where you go from this. I'm very curious to see how the writer wraps this up, because I'm like, where do you even go? Like, is it going to be so bad that it implodes on itself, like the whole multiverse of Jason's imploded on itself, or
No, because the multiverse has always existed, and it's
and it
not
only
like
grows more?
yeah. So it's not like it can implode on itself because it's not like there's no capacity. That's why this show is
Yeah,
really well done, right? Like you can understand it. It's a very complex thing, but you can understand it.
yeah, yeah, and it makes sense because it's like I talked about it to one of my friends the other day. It's like our eyes, our human eyes can't perceive every single like radio, not radio wave, but waves in different dimensions that we pass through every day. There's things that dogs and cats can see and hear that we can't. Certain frequencies. That's the word, frequencies. So the idea of the multiverse is that they exist right now, right in front of us, but in between us. Like, we're in between them and through them at the same time. So the idea of the box is like you're not moving. It's not a space. Like, if it was a Marvel, if Marvel developed this show, it would be a spaceship. Let me say Disney. If Disney developed this show, it would be a spaceship instead of a box. It would be like, I don't know, some kind of crazy machine instead of a an injection. And they would be like final battles and people fighting and stuff. But like, they took Schrodinger's box and literally made it that. It's just a box that does not move, and your brain interprets it as a hallway, kind of like in the Matrix with all those doors. But it's really just your mind making sense of something that it should
You're not
not have
supposed to
to
understand.
experience.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, and I absolutely love the way he interpreted how you get to different universes. It's your mental state, what you feel, what your desire is, stuff like that. And I knew from Jump Street that Amanda was his issue. Like, she was the reason why he couldn't get to where he wanted to go because of her. So the fact that she figured that out and was like, look, I got to leave you or you're never going to get to reach your family. So, and then that episode when they part ways, it
She
was
went to
almost
the
like a
best world
breakup.
humanly possible for
Yeah.
her.
And it was like a breakup, like the way they left each other, to the point that every universe after that was just like a melancholy universe, like a somber universe, because he was just like, she abandoned me. And he even said that, he was like, you're abandoning me? I'm like, bro, you got to leave this chick now because you're starting to develop feelings for her. Like,
I
you
would have
got to
stayed
get out.
there because there's just like, what are the chances of you getting to where you wanted to go? You know, it's
I feel like if he knew that he was duplicating himself with all these different doors he's going through, I feel like he would have stayed, because it would have just, he probably would have rationalized in his mind, like he said his character does. He probably would have rationalized, like, if he's not a good guy for her, she'll just divorce him and she'll leave him and find a better person or something like that. And Charlie will move on with his life. He's old enough. And I'll just stay here and get a different identity or something. Like, if he knew that he was making things worse by trying to get back to them, he probably would have stayed. But instead, he thought, no, I got to get back to my family. He's dangerous and stuff like that. He went back, and like, he only had like 3 ampules left or something like that. Man, like,
mm-hmm.
that was a gambit. But maybe, and I postulate that he had to get to the last one, and he had to feel it in his soul that this has to be the last ampule. And because he felt that way, he got to the right door. His mind state was, I gotta get to them. This is my last chance. And that's why he finally got to them. And
The other Jasons
yeah,
just
man.
happened to find it by chance.
Yeah, I also think the other Jason's a little more focused too. He seems like a zeroed in focus kind of guy.
Well,
He's
that's
like, I
why he was
want this,
able
I'm
to
gonna have
traverse
it.
around as easily as he did.
Yeah, he was hopping different universes and finding like different currencies, taking notes and shit like that. Like he zeroed in on what he had to do, and he traversed the universe. He didn't have any scars or nothing like that, so I'm guessing like he knew what to do. He knew how to get there. And he was good, and he was traveling by himself for most of the
He
time.
also
So he was.
created it. Not all the other Jasons did.
That's true. For the other Jasons, it was a theory. So this guy knew. He was like, "Look, you got to control with your mind." I'm guessing he took some self defense classes. I'm guessing he took some firearm training, some meditation drills. Like I think this guy prepared himself for this trip, and he knew
Yes.
exactly what to do. And he seems like a guy who's not really um, driven by emotion. So that probably helped him in the box too.
All right.
Because
Lots
yeah,
to think about on this. We can talk about it all day.
yeah,
I wanted your thoughts on. I know we talked a little briefly yesterday about like. I mean, we're getting older, which naturally means everyone else is getting older. And all these
right.
quintessential like action stars are like 50 plus, 60, 70 now. Like, how do you feel about it?
I think it's strange. I think I talked about it before because I just watched Bad Boys, the last Bad Boys. It was
Uh huh.
great. It was way better than the last one. You know, if I were to rank the Bad Boys movie, it would be Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 4, Bad Boys 3. You know, and
You
it's
like the
crazy to
second one the
see.
most?
I do, man. It just has a lot more
Oh,
action and stuff. I just like it. I love it. It's like, and it's a quintessential Michael Bay movie. Like, the comedy and
explosions.
everything like that. Yeah, I just and plus I really like SWAT movies and like I just like that stuff and they had that heavy in the last one. I mean the second one. But yeah, I'm watching this movie and I'm like, yo, Will Smith is in his mid to late 50s. Marlon Lawrence, he's probably in his mid to late 50s too, but he looks like he's in his 60s to late 70s. Like he's not in that great of a shape. And I'm like, these guys are doing all this action moves. Now obviously they have stunt people, right? But still, they're the guys driving the sales for the tickets. Their names are up there. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence is 59.
Oh, he looks older. But he's just not in the best. He's never really been in the best shape. He had a stroke like in his 40s or something like that. And ever since then, it's been a downhill spiral. Um, but like, yeah, like Will Smith was even in better shape in this one than he was in the last Bad Boys. And I'm like, what is it with our action heroes being guys who are in their 50s, 60s, even 70s? Like Sly Stallone's like still doing stuff. He's the Tulsa King and stuff. It's kind of crazy to me because it's almost like all the older guys were like, yo, if nobody wants to do it, I'm going to have to come back and do it myself because these movies are not hitting right. Because I'm like, no offense to the Timothy Chalamets in the world, but
Oh,
I feel like all these new young actors want to be the next Timothy Chalamet. And let's face it, besides Dune, Timothy Chalamet is just doing like these like I don't want to say pretty boy roles, but he's like the sensitive guy
yeah,
with the
no, he
long
is. He's
hair and
exactly what it is. Yeah.
like the long hair sensitive guys. And when we had that back in the day, we had what Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was that guy, but he was still knocking dudes out in movies. All right, like he was still playing tough guys. I think the other example is Matthew McConaughey. Early in his career, he was just doing rom coms, but he was still kind of like a manly guy. And then he started doing other stuff. So it's like I don't know. I feel like everybody wants to be like all these new cats want to be like the artsy actor who does the little films where he's like kind of the guy that every girl wants to be with, but he's kind of not. And I don't know. Like it's just we don't have really action stars, so now all of our action stars are just the same ones who are from the '90s. They're just older. They're in their 60s, 70s. They're the Tom Cruises, the Will Smiths, the Jamie Foxxes. You know, like even Denzel. I mean, he's a great actor, but let's be real. He's not in the best shape, but he's still the equalizer. Like if Denzel was sitting across from me, I'm in better shape than Denzel. But because he plays that role so well, I'd be like, yo, man, like, yo, don't touch me, bro. Like, like yo, back up. You might want my ass. You know, so it's like, I don't know. It's kind of weird, man. Like there was a time when we was laughing at Liam Neeson for turning himself into an action star, but everybody else is doing that too, man. Like all these older
Keanu
guys,
Reeves, great example.
Keanu Reeves, like,
But he's so
and
good at it.
he's still good at it and he's believable. Like Keanu Reeves, since he did martial arts in the Matrix movies, he never stopped. So you could see it.
But
Like you could
but
see
he
it in the
takes
way he
care of
moves.
himself. You can tell because he looks great for his age.
Oh yeah. Like he never stopped conditioning himself. He never stopped doing
He
martial
looks like
arts.
he's
Like
35, dude. Like it's wild.
yeah, yeah. And that's to say, it's funny, bro. Because I think I talked about it before, but Scott Adkins, the actor and former stunt guy, well, he still does action movies. He has a podcast, um, and I forgot the name of it. Act something action, and he interviews a lot of these stunt actors from back in the day. Some of them still working, some of them not. But I noticed something when I watched them. I'm like, all these people still look good for their age. Like men and women in their 60s and 50s are still doing backflips and kicking and punching. And I'm like, there's a common denominator here, and it's martial arts, all right? Like, if you keep at it, you feel good. Like Michael Jai White. To this day, people say Michael Jai White is the baddest dude on the planet. Like John Jones, arguably the greatest fighter in the world, talks about how Michael Jai White beat him in a sparring match. Like what? Michael Jai White's like in his 50s, bro. And he's still built like an ox, bro. Like, so I don't know, man. Like, it's funny watching. Like Timothy Chalamet's a great actor. In Dune Part Two, he made me believe like, yo, he's a warrior. But the dude's still like 90 pounds soaking wet, you know. And last time I checked, his next role was not going to be in Extraction
His
3 or
hair
something like
weighs
that.
more
Like,
than his body.
and I wonder too. I'm like, what are you going to be when you get rid of that hair? Because you're not going to have that hair forever. Every role that you're in, you're not going to want to have that hair. What if you have to shave your head? What are you going to be then? You know, like you're just going to look like a regular dude. You know, so but I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like all these new guys just want to be either the artsy actor or they want to be the weirdo Barry Keegans of the world, where they're just
Yeah,
like,
but there's actors that can
you know,
do both. I think Adam Driver can do both.
he can, but he's also older.
He's
I'm
what,
trying to talk
40?
about these new guys. He's been in the game for a while. I'm talking about these new cats, these new young guys. Ain't nobody trying to be an action star, you know. Like, and I don't count those franchise movies like Spider Man with Tom Holland. I don't count that. I'm talking
I
about
understand.
like,
You're talking about like action movies. I get it. 100%.
yeah, like
That your brand's
Commando.
built on it. Like what Arnold and
Yeah,
Sly did for years.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying you got to be like 260 pounds of just
Henry
muscle.
Cavill was
I'm,
probably the closest.
yeah, yeah, man. But
Now look,
they're just getting rid of him on projects because he's just not for the dumbness, man. I feel like
you can
he and
tell. You can
Superman
tell
left a
he's not a
bad taste in his
sellout.
mouth.
You can tell he is not a sellout, though.
Exactly, especially because he don't need the money, so he could
Yeah,
pick and
dude. His
choose what he
parents
want
grew
to do.
up extremely rich. Like he doesn't need to act for money. He's more than set.
Yeah, he could pick and choose his roles, so he ain't for that foolishness. And I feel like being Superman left a bad taste in his mouth because that was a role that was
Built
perfect
for
for
him.
him,
Yeah.
but the DCEU was a mess.
Yeah,
Such a
James
mess because it
Gunn really did a
was.
bad job with how he handled that.
You mean Zack Snyder?
No, getting rid of
Oh, getting rid of Cavill.
Cavill. Yeah,
Do you think that Cavill would even want to stay? I feel
he
like for
did.
him.
He threw everything down because at the end of
Oh, that's true.
because he was in
I
the
know what you're
posting
talking about.
credits because he's like, yeah, I'm coming back, and he that's why he stopped doing The Witcher and all that stuff so he can concentrate on that.
That's true. That's true. Um, yeah, but I think it's the best move for him. I know he wanted to stay, but think about it. When he was inducted into the DCEU, how many times did the DC studios change their head of studios? Uh, AT&T was bought up by. I mean, AT&T bought Warner Brothers. Then they passed it off. Then it was
Plenty of
Discovery.
times,
Like
but he was like Man of Steel was like one of like was like the only good DC movie at the time.
facts,
It was such a great
facts.
movie.
And we're not counting those one-offs like Joker and the Batman because those weren't part of the DCEU. We're talking about DCEU.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was the only good one. I can't think of it. Wonder Woman was decent.
First one was
The
good.
second one
It was
the second
awful.
one was bad. Wonder Woman one was good, but the second one, so Wonder Woman and Man of Steel. But I think I like Man of Steel better than Wonder Woman personally. But
I feel I
yeah,
think we need to have Adam Driver in some one of these comic book stuff, man. Like I love this guy to death. I can't say enough good things about him. I wish I could, you know.
I don't think he's going to do it simply because he's been through that with Disney. Did you hear about his comments about his dislike for what happened to Kylo Ren?
Yes.
I think he's not going to go through that again. I think he's going to avoid these IPs, these franchises, and just do his thing because he can pick and choose what he want to do too, man. Like he's
He
so
has a new
good. He's
movie
like,
coming out besides Megalopolis, which we can't wait to see in a couple months. You know that's going to be
oh word,
fantastic. Yeah,
what's he
comes
got
out.
coming out?
He's got a movie called The Carnival at the End of Days, which it's got Jason Momoa in it, Jeff Bridges, and Johnny Depp.
Johnny's coming back, baby.
Johnny Depp is going to play Satan. Jeff Bridges is playing God. The premise is God, disappointed with what's gone down on planet Earth, wants to wipe out humanity, and the only one who wants to save them is Satan, who convinces God that two young people he's found are the new Adam and Eve. Satan wants to convince him because then he doesn't have more people going to hell and he's out of business.
Hold up. Let me look at I yo. I'm a fan of these kind of movies. I don't know why.
Here,
Maybe it's
I'll
because
slack
I
it to you
grew
right
up.
now. Hold on.
Terry Gilliam's what
Yeah,
directing this,
Mighty Python. Yep.
bro? Bro, like I'm a fan of these movies. I like these movies like Constantine, End of Days. I recently rewatched Constantine. Y'all should check it out with Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves.
Speak of
Yeah.
the devil. Speak of the devil.
Paul
Speak of the
Bettany's in
devil.
there too, isn't he?
No,
I thought he was. I thought he played the bad guy in
that's a
there.
different one.
Mm.
You're talking about Da Vinci Code.
No, I'm thinking of Legion.
Oh, Legion. Another one that was okay. It had a very good premise. The execution was
That's another
but
comic book movie too.
and then they made a sci-fi show of it, which was trash.
All right, we gotta say it this. Yeah, dude, this movie. Come on, you kidding me?
Bro, I love these kind of movies. I can't. It's in development, so we don't know how long. But Johnny Depp is back, and I think that's a good casting. Satan. Let's be honest.
Jeff Bridges as
Um,
God, Jason Momoa and Adam Driver are unknowns yet.
I just hope it doesn't take that like. What can I? How can I say it? Like this Gods of Egypt slash.
It's not,
You
dude. It's
know,
it's going to be like almost satirical in nature because of Terry Gilliam.
yeah, yeah, true, true. I just didn't want it to be too franchisey looking. Like
No, no,
you know
no,
what I'm
no, no,
thinking
no.
about.
I don't think it would be like that at
A
all.
lot of these movies kind of look like that. But I hope it's more like Constantine or End of Days. Did you see that with Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day?
Yeah.
Like that was a good one too. But yeah, I hope it's like that. It's gonna be dope. I wonder who Jason Momoa is playing as. I wonder if he's gonna play like an archangel, like Michael or something. That would be dope.
Or Jesus.
Or he could pull it off. You know, they're making Jesus Hispanic nowadays. So, I mean, they could make him Polynesian. You know, you never know. Like Jesus does this thing in Hollywood where he just changes ethnicities out of nowhere.
At a whim, yeah. One moment he looks
was
like
white.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now he looks like,
He was white, then he was black. Now Jesus is like Hispanic in every iteration on TV and movies, and he could turn to the Polynesian. You know, he could be Jason Momoa. He could be Hawaiian. So
yeah, we gotta keep an eye on this.
Oh, definitely, man. Especially because Johnny Depp, man. Johnny Depp and Adam
Love
Driver
Johnny
together,
Depp.
and they're not telling you who Adam Driver's going to play. I mean, Johnny Depp as Satan and Jeff Bridges as God. I'm sold. Take my money. Just take it now. I wonder who's developing it. If it's Disney, we're all in trouble. But
no way there would be a Disney movie.
Nah, they would never pick it up.
Because Disney treated Johnny Depp so bad, he would never do another Disney movie again. He said so.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny that, you know how there's clickbaity stuff out there. Somebody tried to put a clickbait thing that was like, Johnny Depp returning in Pirates of the Caribbean. I was like, he would never. Click. I'm not even going to read this. You're just clickbaiting. Shut up. You're lying. He would never.
No, he even said he wouldn't do it because he turned down $50 million for him to come back, and he says, nah.
Oh, they offered him that after the trial, I'm guessing?
Yeah. As soon as the trial was over. I don't think Amber Heard even had enough time to like register that she's like bankrupt now for them to offer it back to him.
I heard she fled the country or something like
that. Yeah,
that.
she lives in like Portugal or something.
Yo, they gonna get their money, yo. Stop playing. They gonna get their money.
You know, he doesn't even care about the money. He donated all of it.
Oh yeah, because the courts give him the money, and then they get the money from her, right?
I don't think it works like that. No, it gets it from her. So what it is the money that he was able to get immediately. She had to sell everything. He just donated it because he's so wealthy, it's unbelievable.
I mean, that's the move. That's the biggest FU, right? Like, I'm going to take this money that you was going to give me and I'm going to donate it to a charity you don't like. It's like, give me the check so I can laugh at it and throw it away in your face.
Yeah, exactly. That's a power move.
Oh, yes. I'm sure he was loving every second of it. Like, oh.
I'm glad he was vindicated.
Yes. Because for like almost a decade, he was painted as this bad guy. But I think that trial needed to happen because now we know not all women are right. There was a campaign going around like believe all women all the time, and that's just not the case.
These bitches be lying.
Oh my gosh. I didn't say it.
Yeah. On that note, man.
Yeah, on that note. Well, my nomads, I hope you learned something. If you didn't, it is what it is. But I hope you be creative. Peace, my friends.